In the 70s, surf pioneers would surf these waves alone. Just the jungle, monkey, the reef, and flawless ocean swells. 50 years later, not much has changed, just new boards, better coffee, and one slightly over-prepared German.
Count your blessings, the road's long, and it ain't always smooth. Every little thing that you do is always gonna come back to you. Oh, back to you.
As the rainy season slipped away, the bananas ripened and the first kites danced in the returning trade winds. Somewhere in Bali, a surf nerd named Nick took that as a sign. Being a meticulous German, he packed the car the night before, as his natural wake-up time is at the optimistic hour of 2 a.m. By 2:01, he was caffeinated and grinning. There was only one obstacle: waking up his wife. Let's just say only one of them thought this was a good idea. They slashed through Bali's pre-dawn chaos, trucks, scooters, and last night's bad decisions, heading towards the island's far side ferry. Indonesian ferries aren't powered by schedules or engine, but by clove cigarettes, instant coffee, and the kindness of strangers. You dread them until you're on one. Then you realize you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Arriving in these new lands, you are greeted by a volcano christened by the clouds. Then came the rain, not just a sprinkle, biblical stuff. Water even found its way inside the car, landing squarely on Nick. But in the tropics, rain never lasts long. Soon the clouds parted, the road turned green, and the trees started getting silly tall. The locals called this one Big Willie. They rounded a corner and nearly drove straight into a temple. No sign, no people, just stone and silence. Kelsey and Nick stared at it for a moment, then back at each other. Whatever spirits lived there, they decided not to find out. The road turned to gravel, and then a friend appeared as if he'd been waiting. No shirt, big smile. He pointed down a narrow jungle path and said nothing. Off of the next headland, they found it. A long, perfect left reeling off the reef. With no time to spare, Kelsey and Nick ran up the beach. Kelsey was given some final filming instructions before Nick made his journey over the hot sand and sharp coral reef that separated him and the waves he woke up at 2 a.m. for. This place was perfect, overhead and offshore with only a few people around. The air 28 degrees Celsius, the water just a little below that. Scrambling back over the reef, Nick still didn't learn to look where he steps. In much need of re-nourishment, he picked off some berries off the local trees. Quickly realizing that it was still absolutely pumping out on the reef, Nick, without any time wasted, he was straight back out there.
Never good enough.
mornings in the jungle don't rush. The light filters in slowly like it's not quite sure what day it is. Why would it? It's still overhead and offshore anyway. But Kelsey knows. It's time for the morning ceremony. She seeks the wisdom of the local monkey king, a noble creature who begins each day with a contemplative butt scratch. He orders his lieutenant to shake the sacred tree, calling the others to order. Mothers arrive, babies cling. Confused jungle deer join the congregation. Kelsey gathers her focus, spirits aligned, everyone's ready. With the morning ceremony complete, Nick could turn his focus back to what really mattered, his spiritual practice. He prepped his trusty toothpick, a big wave board so narrow it might float if you believed in it hard enough. One last challenge before the paddle out.
I'm doing the world's hardest thing, which is trying to open up knee strength that I've actually used already on a bigger wave board about 10 times, and slowly but surely just massaging those knots.
1 hour later.
Look at this. Look at this. Boom!
Big win. Now wax up and put your makeup on. That's it. Jogging up the beach, Nick noticed it was a fair bit bigger than the day before. Which made the paddle out all the more gruesome. Eventually, he made it. Out there all alone, catching his first wave of the day. Nick had one thing on his mind, getting caught inside. Here he is, glancing nervously over his shoulder, making sure nothing bigger is sneaking up behind him. As Newton's lesser-known fifth law of fluid dynamics reminds us, hold downs last exactly twice as long when there's no one else in the lineup. There was no one, just the birds, circling overhead, laughing politely at what they assumed was his impending doom. Careful there. And then, as if on cue, a few others appeared, just enough to make it feel less like survival and more like play.
In time, you will find many things found in the ordinary. Could it be what you see? Many things are extraordinary. Every time when I look at you, I seem to find another thing behind the story. Every time when I look at you, I seem to find another dream behind the glory. And now it seems no time at all. So
Not bad for a kraut. Now let's see an air to round things out. At it, boy. With one final scramble across the reef and the birds still chuckling, it was time to call it. Back to the car, over the ruts and ridges of the dirt road, through the absurdly tall trees, past the sleeping volcanoes, through the friendly villagers, a few angels, and maybe even the devil himself. Then one more ferry, back to the island of the gods.